Blood, handcuffs, and screams. This wasn't just another hip-hop and love show. It was a full-fledged war. Stevie J was arrested, Lil Scrappy was hospitalized, and the cameras were still rolling. You could ask yourself, what kind of betrayal makes a man snap so hard that he ends up in an ambulance, while the other gets thrown in the back of a squad car still yelling Bambi's name like a curse? This wasn't a stage, and the footage is being buried more quickly than Stevie's last failed attempt. Come back, I'm talking about leaked text messages, explosive audio, and a crazy backstage brawl. One employee said it was like watching Mike Tyson swing on sub night in a broom closet. What started it all was a year-long beef, with a woman at the center and a betrayal so cold it almost stopped Scrappy's heart. If you think you've seen drama before, you haven't, because what just happened behind those studio doors is about to reveal the ugliest truth reality TV has ever attempted to conceal. Don't blink, don't scroll, because by the end of this video, you'll be wondering who really planned this and why, just when you thought the drama between Stevie J and Lil Scrappy Bambi had peaked, think again. This isn't just another reality TV meltdown. It's full-blown chaos, complete with screaming fans, flashing lights, and a stretcher rolling out from backstage. It all happened at an exclusive sold-out Love and hip-hop reunion taping that wasn't meant to be seen by the public. According to sources, backstage tension had been building for weeks. Security was on edge from the moment these two locked eyes because they knew that something was coming, but no one expected it to be this explosive. Just before the main taping began, Mamadou was seen pacing frantically, talking to producers with her hands. Still emotionally damaged from the fallout with Bambi, he showed up looking like he had something to prove. And let's just say that Stevie J didn't show up to play peacemaker. Insiders say that Stevie walked into that green room like he owned the network. Sunglasses on, bottle in hand, smirk on his face, and no apologies in his mouth. We're left with broken glass, felony charges, and an intensive care unit report that reads, contusions, internal bleeding, possible concussion. She allegedly waved in the air and warned them, if y'all let Bambi and Stevie be in the same room with my baby, I swear for God, I'm tearing this whole set down. However, no one looked. However, the real story begins backstage in the holding area, where Scrappy had just gotten upset when Stevie J arrived with two unidentified industry friends who appeared more like hired muscle than actual guests. According to one eyewitness, Stevie loudly joked, I hope nobody in here is still crying over Bambi's OnlyFans because she made more money than y'all in a weekend. Who threw the first punch? And why did he leave in handcuffs while Scrappy left in an ambulance? The room fell silent as Scrappy reportedly said, You still talking after what you did, you a whole clown, Stevie, before getting up and throwing his phone on the couch. Production assistants stopped, security began to approach, but Stevie didn't stop. He allegedly whispered something that would never be recorded, and that's when Scrappy lunged, chairs flew. One of his guys was pushed into the wall so hard that a painting fell. Someone screamed, and one of the producers yelled, cut the feed. However, it was too late by the time security intervened, and Scrappy had blood on his lip, and Stevie was gasping, holding his ribs like something cracked. But the most outrageous part wasn't even in the end. It was reported that Stevie took a small silver switchblade from his back pocket. Security tackled him right away, and he was still screaming when he collapsed against a wall, clutching his side. Paramedics were called, and there on the set, Stevie J was handcuffed and loaded onto a stretcher in front of a yelling crowd. Word spread like wildfire, and by the time they got Scrappy to the emergency room, Tienzo was already outside the hospital gates. It turns out that this wasn't just about Bambi, Cloud, or even respect. It goes back to a dirty little secret that no one was supposed to know. In the meantime, Mamadou was outside the police station giving an impromptu press conference as if she were running for mayor. I told them that Stevie J was poison. That man had been leeching off drama since 03. And now my baby was lying up in a hospital bed. So many camera flashes were in the parking lot, even when Kenny's cousin came in for that foot thing. According to a number of sources, Bambi and the bad guy, who is allegedly behind the pitch Mona freaking Scott, have been secretly working on a new reality spin-off without Scrappy. That's right, a whole new love and hip-hop project, and Scrappy wasn't even invited. Word on the street is that Scrappy learned about the show just days before the reunion taping, and he was so angry, betrayed, and embarrassed that he came in hot, which is why he confronted Stevie, which is why everything went awry. Fans are already speculating that Scrappy was drugged before the taping because a leaked report purportedly sent to a gossip blogger by a hospital insider shows unusual substances found in his system. We're talking about sedatives, high doses, and stuff that shouldn't have been there unless someone slipped it to him. One anonymous crew member claims that before Stevie even showed up, he was acting off, slurring words, and stumbling a bit. If that's the case, this isn't just a fight. It's a setup, and Stevie J isn't saying a word his team released. In a single statement, Stevie J claims he is innocent and will not comment at this time, but the damage has been done. Backstage is being treated like a crime scene. Contracts are on hold, lawyers are circling, and producers are trying to figure out how to spin this without getting sued. However, Bambi isn't keeping quiet. Within hours of the news breaking, she took to Instagram Live while drinking white wine and wearing a face beat filter, saying, "All I'm going to say is that you're only half of it." The narrative. She closed the live stream with a wink and the words, "Season premiere coming soon. You can't make this stuff up." And believe me, when the genuine tea drop do not be acting brand new, the comments are a mess. "You set Scrappy up, lady. You dirty for this first Stevie ain't shut. But you are the devil." And guess who recently hired a top-tier entertainment lawyer with connections to the Kardashians? That's right, Stevie J, the man who famously declared, "I don't do drama, so I'll never need a lawyer." Now he faces 2 criminal charges and could face a civil lawsuit if Scrappy's attorneys proceed. Speaking of attorneys, Scrappy's attorneys recently released a Just when you thought this toxic train wreck couldn't get any messier, suddenly backstage surveillance footage mysteriously leaked, showing a blur of chaos shoving and what? Stop and desist to Mona Scott's production company, demanding that all unreleased footage of the fight be turned over immediately. Where does that leave love and hip-hop in ruins? But wait, we're just getting started. Next, we're breaking down the contracts, the alleged backdoor deals, the fake friendships, and the real reason this beef exploded on reunion night. We know that security had to break through not 1, not 2, but 3 locked dressing room doors to remove Lil Scrappy from Stevie J, whose shirt was allegedly torn down the middle, revealing a bruised chest and a bleeding lip. This is where things get even more twisted, as sources close to the production, by which we mean those nosy makeup artists who overhear everything, claim that Scrappy wasn't even supposed to be there. It looks like Stevie J lunging at someone before the camera cuts out. He had finished filming there, but as fate or tragedy would have it, Bambi was filming a confessional 2 rooms down the hall with Stevie J as a surprise guest star. That's right, Mona used one of her dirty little producer tricks once more, bringing Stevie in as a plot twist without telling Scrappy. The second he heard that, he snapped, stormed onto the set, and reportedly kicked through a prop wall. He yelled something like, "You're trying to play me like I'm weak. I'll show y'all weak." At that point, the actual commotion began, with people yelling and producers running away, saying, "Mona is nowhere to be found." Typical nameless security guards, whom we'll refer to as Rico, told us off the record for the time being that We've seen fights, we've seen drinks thrown, but never anything like that man fighting for the cameras. He was fighting like he'd been betrayed in real life. That wasn't reality TV. That was raw pain. But don't worry, Mona Scott Young wasn't about to let that go to waste. And the cameras kept rolling. Word has it that the footage is now locked in a vault being reviewed for legal implications. But knowing Mona, it will be repackaged, remixed, and released in a mid-season trailer to Juice. The ratings skyrocketed, but Lil Scrappy, who had to be taken to the hospital after suffering a dislocated shoulder and busted knuckles, had to be escorted. Brace yourself, because he reportedly passed out in the hallway from a panic attack. Nurses believed he was overdosing, but it turned out that the weight of betrayal was what ultimately broke him down. Family fame and fake love all came crashing down at once, and that man was allegedly handcuffed at the scene and dragged out the side exit to avoid the paparazzi. De-escalate, because when does a man covered in another man's blood look like a peacemaker? The internet had a field day as a career Scrappy snaps trended on Twitter memes everywhere for 12 hours straight. One of his representatives went online and said Stevie was ambushed, he was the victim, he was trying to de-escalate. Here's the real tea, nobody's innocent in this circus. The user captioned a photoshopped image of Scrappy holding Bambi's baby, saying, "I fought for this family." Others were much less forgiving, accusing Scrappy of being unstable, aggressive, and immature. Meanwhile, Bambi went live on Instagram with her best friend in the background, whispering, "Don't say too much every 5 seconds." However, in between false tears and eyelash glue failures, Sis couldn't help but slip and say, "I tried to protect Scrappy, but you guys don't know the half of what he's done." Oh no, what has he done? We're eager to find out if there's another secret or scandal that fans are now wondering if there's more to Bambi and Stevie's alliance than just friendship. Could it be that the two have been secretly planning to get Scrappy out of the franchise? Perhaps it's a side deal with the producers. Perhaps it's a so-called insider leak from the editing room that says that over an hour before filming, Stevie J and Bambi were in Mona's office discussing contracts and exchanging papers. Scrappy wasn't involved at all. What kind of shady mess is this? It's beginning to appear that Scrappy walked right into a trap. The entire situation was set up as if it were an episode of Survivor Love and Hip Hop Edition. And let's talk about Mama D. Wu. She went viral, not just on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even MySpace, by dragging Bambi, Stevie, Mona, and even Scrappy himself. "I told everyone that they were snakes, and although my son isn't perfect, he didn't deserve this." However, Mama D wasn't finished. The following day, she pulled up to the hospital with a boom mic and her own camera crew. We're not kidding when she said she's making a documentary series exposing the truth. One fake friend at a time, first episode Judith and Jordan's The Stevie J Betrayal. You can't make this stuff up except we can, and we are. And it's glorious in all the chaos. VH1 has gone very quiet, with no press releases or statements. But you can be sure that executives are worried about potential lawsuits and boycott threats from fans. If this footage is ever shown, it could be the last straw for love and hip-hop in Atlanta. If you want to hear something even more outrageous, a petition with 40,000 signatures has gone viral, calling for the network to release the footage. The streets are talking, social media is ablaze with theories, analysis, and good old-fashioned chaos. And Reddit threads have timelines, clip breakdowns, and even slowed-down audio where fans claim you can hear Bambi say, "Get him out of here." The producers are reportedly in full panic mode, pulling editors from other shows to sort through the unedited fight footage and figure out how the hell to spin this without losing their jobs right now. Could that be the smoking gun? Stay tuned, because part 3 is where everything really blows up. Court dates, leaked medical reports, and shocked witnesses. You haven't seen anything yet. And then the courtroom gates suddenly opened, with Steve J recently released on bail, and Lil Scrappy still recovering from injuries and betrayal trauma. The drama officially began. Moving from backstage to the courtroom stage, the trial began with cameras prohibited in tension higher than Mad's blood pressure. However, don't worry, because we have leaks. Oh, do we have leaks? According to a legal assistant who definitely shouldn't be talking to the blogs. The opening arguments were explosive, and Scrappy's team portrayed him as a man who was emotionally manipulated, cornered, and ambushed by production for ratings, while Stevie J's attorneys tried the case. I was informed by Mona's team that Stevie J was being brought in to shake things up, but I had no idea that Scrappy would be there that day. What shocked everyone was Bambi's statement under oath. She looked like she walked straight off the set of a scandalous music video and into a messy federal indictment. Classic, he's a family man, routine boy, please. They even had the gall to describe Stevie as a mentor figure to Scrappy-like mentor in What Gaslighting. I knew I would have said something, but we were already at odds, sis. The man jumped through the drywall like a professional wrestler over your tension. Let's not pretend. Next came screenshots, and not just any screenshots, of Bambi and Mona allegedly talking about Scrappy's waning popularity and how the show needed a shock moment. One line even said, "Let him pop off, it'll go viral." Whoa. Courtroom guest judge looked shook. Scrappy broke down crying. Meanwhile, Mama was in the back row, fanning herself with a rhinestone-covered Bible and whispering, "Didn't I tell y'all Judas all of them?" The judge then dropped the bombshell, ordering an urgent review of production ethics translation. VH1 may face harsh criticism for putting its cast in danger for the sake of television drama, but wait, it gets even worse. A nurse close to the family who had access to the hospital records, leaked inexplicably a few hours later, revealed that Scrappy did not only a dislocated shoulder, but he also suffered from psychological trauma and a mild concussion. The best part is that someone started a GoFundMe page called Justice for Scrappy, and it raised over $90,000 in 3 days. It's unclear where the money is going, but there are rumors that Mama D is using it to hire a documentary team to expose the machine behind the madness. She claims to have already contacted Netflix, and her sister believes she's Aaron Brockovich, complete with a wig and a purse full of receipts. We didn't ask for this crossover, but it's where the web of lies really begins to come apart. A former VH1 intern, who we'll call Lola because that's what she put on her TikTok handle, uploaded a whole 4-part series titled The Truth About the Scrappy Setup and Baby, which included all of the text messages between producers regarding scheduling changes, as well as audio of Mona allegedly saying, "I don't care if they just keep the cameras rolling as you fight." When the internet went crazy, cancel love and hip-hop became popular, fans started to boycott VH1, and Mona Scott Young's name was being pulled like a cheap wig in a tornado. Then suddenly, VH1 released a statement saying that we take our cast safety extremely seriously and are now. We have temporarily halted the filming of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta until further notice after reviewing internal policies. It seems like you were caught red-handed and are now rushing to save face. Meanwhile, the streets of Atlanta are bustling with Scrappy fans organizing rallies, and all 14 of Stevie J's supporters are going crazy. Bambi shares a selfie with the message, "Unbothered, blessed, booked sis, you might be booked for real in the legal system," amid the rumors of deep state plots. But wait, we're not finished. According to a late-breaking source from a music industry blog, Scrappy is being asked to perform a tell-all by 3 rival networks. The most outrageous offer comes from HBO Max, who wants to make the courtroom drama into a limited series with Scrappy as himself and Tay. Another remarkable offer is from Zeus Network Digs as Stevie J. Like, who's writing this stuff? But the last straw was when Lil Scrappy released a diss single, Backstage Betrayal and Honey He Spared, which is a whole 3-minute anthem of rage. Stevie and Bambi used me for the tale, but I flipped the script and am now making money again. The lyrics are abrasive, bitter, and obviously intended at Bambi. They're not incorrect when they say that this is the most heartfelt lyric in hip-hop and love history, and guess what? It peaked at number 4 on the iTunes hip-hop list. The man went from a hospital bed to the Billboard charts in a week, which is legendary behavior. As for the future, we know that Bambi just canceled 2 paid hosting gigs, and Mona Scott Young is lawyering up. Mama D says she's starting her own podcast called Thriving Talk. Royal Family Secrets Unfiltered, Episode 1. How to spot a gig Stevie J's passport may or may not have been flagged. I want to ask you, my viewers, was Stevie J the aggressor or just the most recent victim in a system that was founded on chaos and exploitation? There is betrayal, a baby caught in the midst in Bambi. Is she a pawn or a player with her own strategy? Was he merely acting out his part, or was he the mastermind behind it all? Now that there is proof, please share your opinions in the comments section. Who is at fault, your team's Scrappy team, Bambi, or the team that cancels? Everything, and if you've read this far, remember to hit the like button because this crap deserves an Oscar. If you'd like, you can also hit the subscribe button.